You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Hello, welcome to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Its purpose is to look into the horror films, dissecting them one screen legend and franchise at a time. Today we have the great privilege of talking to the star of The Return of the Living Dead, Creepazoids, Nightmare Sisters, Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowlerama, and Night of the Demons, just to name just a few of the work that she's been in. People might know her as Queen of the Bees. She is none other than Linnea Quigley.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed?
Never.
Do you ever wonder about all the different ways of dying? Violently? And wonder, what would be the most horrible way to die?
Try not to think about dying too much.
Well, for me, the worst way would be for a bunch of old men to get around me and start biting and eating me alive.
Hello.
Oh, hello, is that Linnea?
Yes, it's me. How are you?
I'm great, thank you so much, and thank you for taking some time out to talk with us on Surgeons of Horror.
Oh my gosh, of course. Of course, for you guys, anything.
Yeah, I'd like to just take a moment to kind of try and go through your career if we can. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. But if we can try and kind of start early on, one of your early gigs was obviously with the role of Dolores in the slasher movie Graduation Day with Troma Entertainment. The film actually got listed under the Section 3 Obscene Publications Act in the UK. The Australians were a bit more relaxed with that kind of stuff, as far as I recall. But but I just wanted to kind of get from you, how did that role come about, and what was it like working for someone like Troma Entertainment?
Well, it was interesting. It wasn't really Troma when I did it. It was another company that Troma bought the rights to.
Sure.
So it was actually a legitimate, film that went theatrical and everything.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to work with them because I had auditioned for the part and I didn't get it. And then I found out that, much later, the girl that was going to play my part was not wanting to take her top off, and she'd agreed to.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't when they were on set. And it was Vanna White, I found out just recently.
Wow.
I didn't know who the girl was. But she's in the film, but it was Vanna White. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because she after that did some risque stuff.
Sure, yeah.
But I guess it was bought up by the studios because of her being, Vanna White.
Yeah, of course. Wow, I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
So she would have had a video nasty.
Nice. That's cool. I should probably just mention to our listeners, I can hear you got some animals in the background there. So it's
Oh yeah, I tried to get away from them, but yeah, there's a lot of animals.
I'm literally just mentioning it just so that they don't think that you're kind of convorting or transforming into some kind of weird wild beast or something in the background. Which
no, the moon isn't full, so that's not happening right now.
Yeah, and we will come to that because there is something I particularly want to talk about with regards to werewolves.
Okay.
Towards the end of the chat, but so something else that was born around this time that you were working on Graduation Day was your musical career. Do you still play at all, or do you dabble with your guitar still, or do you find that kind of?
I still dabble with it, and the problem is that the bass player lives on the other side. We were the main components, the bass player and me.
Yeah.
Drummers, just like in Spinal Tap, they come and they go.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. And, then you combine the element of it being a woman and, you know, which are really more rare. And so I had to deal with having them come and go. And so we'd always be looking for a drummer, but she wrote and I wrote, and she sang and I sang. And I just got something that I did. It was out the Skirts, but it was a song that we played with the Skirts.
Yes.
Called This Chainsaw's Made for Cutting, and it's on a 45 vinyl.
I love it.
Colored 45 vinyl.
Yeah.
From Strange Way Discs. And I was like so happy. I was like, yay, I've got a disc finally out.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see how this one does, and then hopefully put all the stuff I've written onto, something.
Yeah, cool. That sounds great.
A real vinyl, a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do it so bad.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait to see the product of that. That sounds so good. I love the title. This Chainway's Made for Cutting. That's so good.
Yes.
So, albeit a small role, your next steps in carving out your career as what you would be dubbed as the Queen of the Bees would lead you to Silent Night, Deadly Night. What memories do you have at this point in your career, just at that kind of, I guess, at that tipping point when you started to get noticed?
Well, I didn't feel I was really noticed then.
Yeah.
But it was like I would go on auditions, and I guess I screamed well, and I acted frightening, and I looked very young and all the things they needed, and innocent. So they thought back then they liked to go after the innocent ones.
That's right.
And now it was just like exciting to be playing in a genre that I really liked.
Yeah.
And I didn't necessarily like being the victim, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Because I was in a horror film.
Yeah, in that particular...
I was lucky and I was a film at all.
Yeah, for sure. In that particular movie, there's that really quite memorable death scene that you have where you're kind of hooked up on the antlers of a deer head, which...
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! Oh, my God. That was like something else.
Yeah, I bet.
My ribs, because they had to call a stuntman in.
Sure.
Because of lifting me from the ribs up that far and down. It was like lifting 100 pounds up and down and up and down, that far.
Yeah.
So they had to call in a stuntman to do a lot of the lifting.
Sure.
Instead of the actor.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. You don't really think about that when you're in the context.
I know you don't.
Yeah. But that kind of really does.
Yeah, that angle didn't work, or you think. It's not going toward the antlers right, or whatever the silliness is going on.
Yeah. So I guess the next big one was The Return of the Living Dead, which effectively propelled you into the genre with, shall we say, your memorable strip drama dance routine in the graveyard scene. Did you have any idea at the time the impact that this movie would have on the horror genre at all?
Oh, I had no idea that there would be any impact. I thought, because I've done movies where I had to do nudity, and, most of them had that formula back then where it was like blood, boobs, and blood, or more blood or whatever, and babes. That's the third one.
Yes.
So I went into it really not thinking of anything except, oh, good, we're doing a scary movie, and that's all I went in thinking.
Yeah.
That's what all of us actually went in thinking.
Sure.
Not knowing that Dan O'Bannon had the plans that he had.
Yeah,
we had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, what was it like working with Dan? Because, he's obviously kind of known for, up to that stage, he did the collaboration with John Carpenter for Dark Star, but then also he's probably most known for writing the screenplay for Alien. So he's definitely got the gift of writing. What was it like working with him as a director?
Well, he was he took it very serious. wanted everything to be, I guess, like a writer wants, to be his image, what he sees.
Yes.
And so he would painstakingly have to constantly fight with the directors and the producer to get it like he wanted it to be. You know, they wanted to cut corners and the budget faster, and I mean the shooting faster, and you know he just was trying to stick to his guns so it would be done right, not just in a hurry and not done good.
I remember.
So I really respect them.
Yeah, absolutely. I just I rewatched this like literally a few nights back, and it kind of it's weird because I obviously watched it when I first watched it. I was probably way too young to be watching it.
Probably.
Yeah. But there was I do kind of it kind of all kind of flooded back, you know, that kind of memory around. I remember it being really late at night when I was watching it, and it's kind of a very quirky film. And it suddenly just kind of propels forward really, really quite quickly as you get to like the latter half of the movie, and more kind of crazy stuff keeps happening, you know. So it's you know, it's pretty off the dial. It's quite a nice slow transition at the beginning when you've got the you know the two kind of employees of the warehouse, you know talking about shit and. Yeah, and then by the time you get to the end, there's all this kind of crazy stuff going on, and I mean, there's obviously been like
it becomes dark. It becomes very dark too.
Very dark, very quick, and even the ending's pretty dark. Which, you know, there are comparisons to Night of the Living Dead that's thrown into the mix, which I know Dan O'Bannon was kind of deliberately doing a nod towards, but even that has a dark ending as well. Yeah, it's pretty. It was kind of cool and refreshing to watch it again. Actually, it was a cool experience.
Yeah, because the music is really really gets it going too. It's like the music cues get you kind of almost in sync with what the movie's doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what struck me as well, because there was music very of its time, but it fits so well, and as you're right, it propels you forward and keeps moving you to the next scene because it's got this kind of uplift, kind of rock-esque kind of feel to it, and it's kind of it was very cool rewatching it. It was a surprisingly pleasant experience revisiting it. Actually, it was cool.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I think it was one of those movies that
that's always nice to hear.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those movies that as I said, I watched it when I was quite young, and I don't think I'd ever kind of rewatched it since. So it was always on my list of I should rewatch that again. So it was kind of cool, kind of immersing myself in that, and I'd forgotten how good it was. Very cool. So if we get to like the late 80s, you then star in like a series of these memorable movies under the direction of David DeCoteau, including Creepazoids, Nightmare Sisters, and Sorority Babes in the Slime Ball Bowlerama. Love that title.
I loved it too.
Yeah. DeCoteau's work is really it's incredibly stripped back, with a focus on the visual effects that labours or is the villain or the alien that he's using within it in his movies. How did you find his directorial style? Because obviously you've worked with him semi-recently as well. So how do you find his directing stance?
Oh, it's very different. He's very, not that Dan wasn't, but he's working really, he's got like his timing down pat.
Yes.
And if you don't do it in one take, you're in a lot of trouble.
Right.
He expects you to be prepared and to perform.
Right.
And just be ready. Whereas, Dan expected that too, but, David isn't into let's do another take of it and for safety, or let's do that. It's just that looked good. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
He did very fast. Sure. Very fast.
Right. So David's like that. He's very kind of going through the points. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, so this was I highlight those 3 films because they're essentially the ones that kind of really elevated you beyond Return of the Living Dead, and thrust you into the home video scene.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the 80s horror scene that still resonates with audiences today? What connects them so much? I mean, we're seeing numerous remakes of films that have come out of the 80s. More recently, there's obviously the nostalgia trip that's going on with things like Stranger Things reigniting again. But what is it about that genre, that time frame, do you think, that has connected so well with audiences?
Well, you mean through the times, or just now especially?
I guess through the time, but firstly through the time, but now there's this reawakening of it as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of people wishing that they were born back in the 80s because I don't know exactly what it's like in Australia, but it's very tough for people in America to make money.
Yes.
It's either you're very rich or you're poor, and there's not a lot. I mean, there is middle class, of course, but not as much as there was in the 80s, where everybody could, they wouldn't have to twice think about buying something or things like that. Like, I'm going to a concert, can I afford it? Even though everything's gone up in price, the wages haven't. And I think people were more relaxed then.
Yes. I guess that's right.
So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that's reflective in the films that were being made at that time too, because there is this kind of feeling of free reign, if you will, or of things feel really loose and really organic in the filmmaking process, which it comes through on the screen on a lot of these films.
No, you're right about that. That's very true. And it's refreshing to see it.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Because so many of these films tried to, and especially after the not filming on film, which was a real shock to me.
Yeah.
Filming with all these other things, whatever they are. It's just like everybody tried to make a movie then.
Yeah.
And it just got inundated with too much stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of wrecked it for a lot of people. People that were really talented got lost in all the muck.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of stuff churning through the mix as the art of film kind of changed, and I guess along with to keep up with the technology and the medium of things.
Yeah.
What do you say? I mean, there's a huge list of your work, as I said at the beginning. But what do you think's been the most harrowing or confronting scene that you've had to face during filming?
Oh boy. The only thing, I think the most harrowing thing is just learning lines so that you can, if you have a long thing, because I naturally am not good at this. Some people have, photogenic memories, and I don't.
Yeah.
So that has always been something that I have to, really, really work on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the most harrowing thing for me.
Nice.
And also, which I don't really do anymore, is the prosthetic effects.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
On my face. I hate those.
Right,
I just hate
okay,
them.
yeah. Okay.
They're really awful.
That. There's a lot of creatures. I mean, we're hinting at Bonehill Road, which I know you've been working on lately, but we'll I'll just ask a few more things first. I mean, the next movie that I was looking at there was in your career was the Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Yes.
Yeah, where you got to work alongside the late great Gunnar Hansen. What was that like working with him?
Well, when I heard I was going to work with him, it was like the second, like, to me, most famous person I'd worked with. Like, I'd worked with Linda Blair.
Yes.
And that was like a big thing to me. And then Gunnar Hansen was a big thing because I was, I'm like, believe the hype. I'm like thinking, oh, he's going to be this big, mean, horrible man, and how am I going to deal with it and everything. And it was like really weird. He was so nice and quiet, but sometimes when someone's quiet, it's even more frightening.
Yes, yeah, I can.
But he was so nice. He was so nice. I remember at the end of a long day. A really long day, because we were going to do it in like 3 days.
Yes.
We had the camera for 3 days, so we were going to do this whole thing in 3 days. And
wow.
I guess I didn't shut off my lights in my car in the morning, getting there early, and my battery went out, and I had to go up to Gunnar and ask him to give me a jump, and I was terrified. But then after that, it's like, he's a pussycat. And then I was telling him, he had no idea how popular he was. I said, Gunnar, if you come over here and do conventions, you will be mobbed. And he didn't believe me.
Absolutely.
He just didn't. He goes, oh, nobody's going to care about that. I go, yes, they will. You've got to do it. And so next thing I know, he's on the circuit. I love it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's sadly missed. He's such an icon, and that's
it's horrible.
I can't stress that word enough. On the horror scene. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I know I didn't mean to gloss over the Linda Blair thing. By the way, I know you worked with her on Savage Streets, wasn't it? And what was it? So like that was early. What was that? 83 or something like that. That film came out. So what?
I think it. I think so.
Yeah.
Right before.
Maybe 84.
Return of the Living Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Linda Blair had already cemented her way with The Exorcist. At that point.
And then all those TV movies.
Yeah, like
she'd done a ton of TV movies in the States.
Yeah.
I know.
We did a review of part of what we do with the podcast is we tend to pick certain movies and review them as well, like from yesteryear. So one of the ones we actually looked at because we were looking at Wes Craven's early work, and we were looking at it was called Summer of Fear here. I think it was called Stranger in the House in the UK in the US. And it's the one. Yeah? It was the one about witchcraft, anyway, where she kind of has a supposed cousin comes to stay with them, and the cousin turns out to be a witch. Which, yeah,
I missed that one. Darn it.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's good. But yeah. So what was it like working with Linda at that stage too? Because she'd already become so kind of synonymous in the film industry at that point, and she was obviously relatively young when she came into the genre.
It was terrifying to work with her. I was really, really scared to work with her because, it was daunting to work with somebody who was like already established like that and had a name and everybody knew her because of that and because of TV movies. So they had already cast Cherie Curry in her part from The Runaways.
Yeah.
And when she came out that day, it was the day before we shot, and they said, well, we have a surprise, and they brought her out as the lead. I thought I was going to lose my part because, first of all, I had blue eyes, she had brown.
Yeah.
I was like a year older. I was supposed to be her little sister.
Oh, right.
And, you know, and I just thought, oh, my God, they're going to fire me now, too.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I was thinking all these things that weren't going to make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, actors are very insecure anyway, and then that didn't make it any better.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, gosh, that must have
So
been...
luckily they kept me. I was like, oh, boy.
Yeah, it must have been surreal, though, as you said, having someone like that come into the fray, and yeah.
It was very intimidating. She's a very intimidating person. I don't know why, but she just is.
Yeah, I think she's a very...
Even fans say that about her.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've not been fortunate to meet her, but from what I've seen in in press junkets and interviews and things, she's a very confident woman. So maybe that's what they're picking up on. Yeah.
That could be. She has her ways about her, but
yeah,
it's like she can turn on a dime.
Yes. Yeah. Right. For sure.
You know, so it's like, you know, I even still today kind of get a little bit nervous about talking with her.
Yeah, far out. Wow, there you go. All right, so let's look at another iconic movie that you would star in, which was Night of the Demons. You also cameoed in its remake, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about this one, because that was a few years back now. But what was it like to be recognised within the industry for your work in this way, to be kind of called back for the remake to go, yeah, we'd like you to cameo in this one?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Now, the bad part was they had promised us all, like they had in Return of the Living Dead, that they were going to have us in the sequel if everything went well. And that we would be paid very well. And, you know, it's like, that's a common thing in Hollywood, though, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're wide-eyed and thinking, oh, they're going to have us back if it does good, and we'll make more money, and, oh, it's great. But that doesn't always work that way.
Yeah,
So it was really nice to be, you know, remembered and cameoed in it. But it was funny because my manager kept getting emails from Kevin Tenney, the producer.
Yeah.
Because he was working with these other guys, but not directing it.
Sure.
And they kept asking and asking for pictures of, like, me, and then they said, well, in a bathing suit, could you place someone in a bathing suit? You know, full length, and then this, and then that, and I'm thinking, what are they doing? But they didn't know if my bottom had grown to enormous sizes or not.
Okay.
Since the first one, so that's why I had to keep sending in pictures.
Wow. That says something right there, I guess.
I guess it's better than saying, do you have a big butt now?
Yeah, polite way of going around it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when I look through your credits, I'm having a fast track, obviously. There's a plethora of stuff that you've worked on. And I don't mean to kind of excuse all your work that you did through the 90s. But,
oh, no!
But what stood out for me was Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings, a film that was obviously based on Stan Winston's creation and probably deserves a bit more recognition than it actually received. Can you tell us a little bit about your time working on that movie?
It was a lot of fun because I knew Jeff Burr some, not a lot, but I knew him. And it was a very relaxed set, and it was very fun. It was I had my own trailer. You know, it was a Screen Actors Guild film, so you know you get all these different amenities and things because it is, you know, a union film. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it was fun because somebody asked me just to sign a poster and my name in it, and I don't think I had a name in it. I think I was just called the Town Pump, whatever that means.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what is that? What does that mean?
The Town Pump. That's great.
Yeah. And and he was just called the mailman or something.
Right.
It was just very odd.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that... Yeah, sometimes that happens, doesn't it, in films where there's... Yeah, I've seen that a few times where there's no actual name listed or it's not deliberately not mentioned as a character name, which... How do you then approach that? Did you give yourself a name for that role?
No.
Yeah.
I just set on the town pump.
That's it.
I think they were referring to something pretty bad, but, why not? It's all in fun.
That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna really fast forward to more recent times now. You starred in Bonehill Road, which we kind of mentioned a bit. A film which is directed by Todd Sheets. It's it premieres on the 20th. I was reading, so not long.
Yes.
And essentially, it's a werewolf creature feature, but notably, it's using old school practical effects. Can you tell us a little bit about the movie, and did you get involved in any of those prosthetics that was used at all?
No, thank goodness. I think a lot of people know now that I hate them, so they don't subject me to them.
Sure.
And I think, Todd is really well read and knows what's up in this kind of stuff, so he knew I wouldn't want to go for that.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'd met Todd before, and he seemed like such a upbeat, great guy. I thought, I want to work for him. Yeah. And I ended up, which was great, because you hear so many people, I'm making a movie, I'll use you in it, and it never happened. And I did not have to get into any prosthetics except, makeup type prosthetics. Okay. Not prosthetics, but makeup things on me. Yeah. I don't want to give it away. But...
No. That's good. So what's the concept of the movie? Do you mind just sharing that with us? I mean, for me, it sounded like he was trying to tap into the old school kind of American Werewolf in London kind of feel. The that kind of
exactly.
So
yeah, because there aren't any werewolf movies lately.
No.
There really haven't been any made, and so he was wanting to do homage to the werewolf.
Yeah. Yes.
They don't get as much attention as they deserve, I guess.
No, they don't. That's right. Well, there's been a lot of shift around. Well, we've been kind of in vampires and zombie terrain for a little while, haven't we? So.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the paranormal.
That's right.
All that, which I don't want to offend anybody, but I can't believe how many people believe about this paranormal stuff and how many movies have been done about it, and people still go see it. To me, I'm shocked.
As in, like, the paranormal?
And I think the whole thing about,
spirits.
If there's a ghost in your house and your covers and sheets will come down, and when they do those shows, nothing ever happens. They just go, "Oh, I heard a voice," and it's like nothing ever happened.
No, that's right. So I take it.
So I don't understand.
Yeah. So I take it you're definitely a non-believer in that camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there you've worked with a lot, as I said, within the horror genre primarily. You've done a lot of other stuff along the way. But is there anything that actually scares you in real life or in person that really haunts you?
Well, death does. Death is scary, I think. And the other scary thing is I'm afraid of rats for some reason. Even though I had one, it's just the thought of a rat and the tail. It just scares me. I don't know. My mom had that fear, and I'm sure I picked it up from her.
Right.
And with good scents and, everything. I'm afraid of salties. Those things are scary to me.
Right. Yeah.
Are you close to where they are? Or?
No, I'm not. I live in the Blue Mountains, so I'm kind of bit from far from the water. But yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I get it. But then I think it's interesting. A lot of the things that come up are things that humans or humanity should be scared of, because it's that kind of instinctive kind of behavior, because these are predatory animals, and it's that defense mechanism that we kind of come up with. So I mean, that's a lot of good directors will tap into that.
Exactly.
That. So yeah.
A lot of shark movies lately too.
Yeah. Actually, we had the Shallows last year, and we had what was it? 40 Meters Down was the recent one here.
Yes.
Which was the Mandy Moore film, and but there's that big one that's coming out next year with Jason Statham called Meg. About the huge,
really?
Yeah, it's cool. It's based on the Megalon, which the prehistoric giant shark.
Oh my God!
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll watch that because Jaws really, out of all the movies I've seen, scared me senseless.
Yeah. Yes, but it's still
But nothing scares me like demons or ghosts or things like that. That doesn't scare me.
Mm. Yeah, it's just I guess it's is that how, it sounds like it's because they step into the I guess fictional kind of terrain, whereas like stuff that's unexplained, whereas things like sharks and rats are physical, like you physically know they exist, and the scare factor.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess because my dad was a scientist, I'm the kind that unless I see it, I don't believe it.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that.
Or there's proof. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So when you kind of, if you were to, look back at your career, what kind of learnings have you taken from it? What do you think have been the highlights of looking back for you? What stood out for you the most?
Well, Return of the Living Dead for sure.
Yeah.
Just the amount of attention I got for that was amazing. Mm. And then me embracing the Scream Queen moniker. Yes. I mean, everybody was shunning away from it and not wanting to be in those kind of films. It's like I embraced it because I loved horror.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big honor. Yes. And a lot of women weren't doing it. And I think those are the most, I think, and then just being able to be a voice for animals too through other people. Yeah. For other people. I think those are the things I'm most proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't touched on that actually, because you're a huge advocate for PETA, aren't you? So, and I know that you actively campaign in their name on a regular basis. So.
Yeah. In fact, on the 20th, where the screening, I'm going to the screening of Bonehill Road, the money is going to spay and neuter animals.
Yes, yeah.
So it's a good cause.
That's right. I did read that too. Sorry, I forgot that too. I saw that on because I'm on the Bonehill Road post on Facebook, and I did see that was present, which is really, really cool. Yeah, so I think I think that's the thing. I mean, as I said, you're being dubbed the Queen of the Bees, and I think that's a fair judgment because of, like you said, it does come across that you were willing to kind of embrace those kind of roles and just really own what they were, which I think is a testament to your personality in order to kind of take those things on. And they still you talk to people within the horror movie genre, kind of fans of the horror movie genre, and there's those films in particular, as I said, particularly the Coteau ones, are still kind of front foremost in a lot of those kind of people's minds. They really, connected with the audience, and I guess a lot of that came with the birth of home video rental as well, which is when you look at these covers of these semi-clad women holding chainsaws or whatever.
Yes.
And from a pre-adolescent teenage boy's mind, it's like that. I have to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
I
like that.
So.
Oh my God.
So it just kind of tapped into.
But you know what?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the people I talk to now.
Yeah.
That was the first time they saw nudity.
Yeah.
It was like part of their puberty, and it's like embarrassing, but kind of cool in a way too.
Yeah, and I totally connect with that too. Like that's totally I was around that age, so for me it's incredibly, like I said, like Return of the Living Dead. I was probably too young to watch it, but it was it embedded in my mind because of all the stuff that was on, from the nudity to the blood splatter to these kind of crazy visual effects, and it was a perfect recipe for my mind, which was being vastly awakened to the world around me at the time. But it's great stuff. So for you, just to kind of wrap up, is there anything else for you on the horizon that you want to kind of do a big shout out to?
I think a big shout out to just anybody that is into animals and advocates everything, and ones that become vegan even. I really give a big kudos to and respect to, and I'm on Twitter, Instagram, the official Linnea Quigley site, which has different ways to get hold of me. And, a lot of people I've become very good friends with on there, and it's really great. We have the same ideas, and it just is for positiveness, not negativity.
Yeah.
But with positivity, sometimes you do have to see some negative things to really, unfortunately, to really show what is happening out there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't think it.
Yeah, that's right.
And it astounds me, whereas when I first became a vegan, I was like stunned of things. I don't know what I thought, but I sure didn't think of what was really happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff, and it's like only, I guess it's only been the tip of the iceberg that's been kind of uncovered thus far, but then more and more stuff is coming to to the horizon with all the things that are coming out and the practices that are being done to cut corners in order to make profit. Yeah. Far out. So look, I on that note, I wish you all the best in moving forward and everything else that you're going to be working on and campaigning for. I hope Bonehill Road does well for you too. I hope so too. Yeah.
I really do, because the director is just so good.
Yeah.
So, and the cast is really good too. So.
Sure. I mean, it really kind of. I mean, it was done out of. I forget which one it was. If it was Kickstarter or Indiegogo now, but it was one of these.
Indiegogo, I believe. Yeah.
So I know it was kind of born out of the that kind of area, and it broke records in the way it kind of just built momentum. So there's definitely an audience hungry for it. So hopefully there's enough to push it forward. So look, thank you so much, Linnea, for chatting. I can't express how grateful I am for you spending some time and talking with me. I wish we had more time to talk further. But yeah,
I do too.
But thank you so much for your time, and as I said, wish you all the best moving down the track.
Okay, and hopefully I'll meet up with you guys sometime.
That'd be
I
awesome.
can get to Australia.
If you do come out, let me know. We'll try and set something up.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, that would be so fun.
That'd be awesome.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Linnea.
Well, you guys have a good whatever it is over there right now.
Yeah, we're just we're in spring at the moment, so kind of coming into the hot season. So it's
unbelievable.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Cool. Anyway.
And you have my favorite actress over there, Nicole Kidman. So
yeah, who's doing gangbusters on the TV circuit lately, huh? As a side track.
Really, yeah.
With I don't know if you've seen Big Little Lies that she got kind of the Emmys and stuff for, and but yeah, there's a few other things that I think she's working on. Rumored to be working on too, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what she does, over the next few years.
It will be. It will be.
Cool. All right. Well, you take care, Linnea, and thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Cool. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Music supplied by Peter Nezik. For more discussions or podcasts, head over to surgeonsofhorror.com or head over to our Facebook and Twitter sites for the latest news and updates.